Look what we have here. Well, yeah, if you follow me, you've seen it. It's here after 5 weeks. But that's not the topic of today's video, because I think everybody, every single person who is kind of in the beauty community as a creator, or maybe even as a I don't want to say that in a rude way, but a heavy consumer, because there are people who are in the beauty community and just consume the content but don't buy anything maybe. And then there is the heavy consumer who is like really following their favorite creators and is buying stuff from them. Like constantly. I'm not talking once in a while. I'm talking like, oh, the creator is recommending this, so I have to buy this now. And the videos about this have been floating around on YouTube already, but I just thought to myself, what if I just stayed in that mid-range consumer line, kind of. I've been watching beauty YouTube and shit since, I don't know, 2013, 14, something like that. So I just wanted to use today things that I'm pretty sure I would have in my collection today if I did not make the decision a year ago to start doing my hobby also online to the public. And it starts even with the eye primer, because I think the eye primer I actually would have is the Urban Decay Primer Potion, but I don't have one open now. But I was obsessed in 2013-14 with the MAC paint pot, so let's use this today as our eye primer. I haven't used this actually in a while. I bought this specifically for a video, but I actually really enjoy this, and I'm pretty sure that I would have bought this anyways, because at the time when this was very popular, I was just not able to afford this 30, no, not 30, I think it's 25, 24 pot of basically just skin colored base. When it comes to face primer, I'm 100% sure that I would be on the 10th or 15th bottle of the MAC Prep and Prime skin base. This is the first primer that I ever used in the beginning of my 20s. And I went through, I don't know, 3 bottles, 2 bottles, 4 bottles before I kind of caved into other primers. But this was the one that I got recommended at MAC when I was for the very first time at their counter. I talked about that story in my brand review about MAC. And I still to this day love this, and I'm so happy that I actually repurchased this because of my brand review. I have to admit, spot concealing is probably something I wouldn't do, maybe, I don't know, if not with these products, because for example, products or brands like REM Beauty, I would have skipped, because I still would have been on beauty YouTube and beauty Instagram, maybe even beauty TikTok, which, you know, I do upload videos on TikTok, but I actually myself do not watch beauty TikTok. I don't know, I just can't. Eyeshadow was actually the hardest part to choose and the easiest at the same time, if that makes any sense, because 10 or 9 years ago, my 2 favorite eyeshadow palettes were the Urban Decay Naked 3 and the original, the OG Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. These were my go-tos, so cool tone pinks and neutrals. That was my vibe. If I wouldn't have put a toe into the water of beauty content creation, or in general just digging deeper into this community, I never ever would have had the courage to start doing colorful looks. But I just wanna, I mean, I don't have both of these palettes in my collection anymore, which is kind of sad, but at the same time I have so much better stuff. So I was kind of thinking either to use Huda Beauty Rose Quartz because of the cool pinks, or I stay in the neutrals and use the Natasha Denona I Need a Neutral palette, because, oh, I need a nude palette. I think Natasha Denona is a brand I would have gotten along with even without me being part of this community. But I never ever would have tried indie brands, because indie brands are very good. I love indie brands, but let's be honest, indie brand prices are wild. And I can totally understand anybody who's saying, oh, I never wear indie brands because they're just too expensive. And let's be honest, they fucking are. Like, look at Cleonat prices. I mean, I just learned thanks to a tip on Instagram from a beautiful follower who just said snag Cleonut from the website because even with duties and taxes it's cheaper than on this German shop that I bought them from the first time. But again, even brands like Bella Beauty Bar, Unearthly Cosmetics, Glaminatrix, Odin's Eye, I never would have stumbled across Odin's Eye or bat an eye at them because all of the color stories are so not the vibe that I used to wear back then. I mean, of course, it's hard to be like, okay, what if? Would I have developed in makeup in another direction? Maybe I wouldn't even wear makeup at all at this point because there was a time in my life in my mid-20s with like 25, 26, something like that, that I didn't wear makeup at all. Nothing. Like I wore a lip balm and that's it. No mascara, no nothing because I just didn't care at that point. I slowly got back into my love for makeup with, I don't know, 27, 28 or so. By the way, I totally forgot to tell you what I've done. I applied the shade Fair all over the lid and now I went in with Wit in my crease area. And now I go in with Vague and I just deepen that up. Because I try to do a mix of the cool pinks and the neutrals. I think the I Need a Nude palette is really good for that. I also would have never ever been so into luxury beauty. Like Tom Ford quads for 90 money, hell no. Never ever would have paid that price for a eyeshadow quad. Or even Charlotte Tilbury. Never ever would have tried Charlotte Tilbury. No, thank you. I'm tapping now into the Tender shade. I apply this throughout the complete crease, like that. I think I would have gotten along with a palette like this, the I Need a Nude, and I probably would have added some single shadows like Urban Decay, the Moon Dusk shadows. That would have been completely my vibe and definitely nothing colorful. The boldest I would have gone was with my Too Faced chocolate bar. There was a shade, I don't know the name anymore, but it was black or deep, 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 deep purple with red glitter throughout. It was a horrible shade. It had the worst fallout ever, but that would have been the deepest I go, but only as liner, you know, pressed into the lashes, and so nothing really deep. I think even this might have been too deep for my past makeup me. So now tapping into the Lila, one of the best shades by the way in this palette, and I apply this all over the lid. Past me never would have used, I don't know, like more than one shimmer on the lid. It's a vibe too, but I like my current application better. So you saw, hopefully, my no-buy intro on Thursday where I really opened up and talked about my makeup collection, the amount of stuff that I have, and also the money worth of the amount that I have. And if we just stay with the theme and be like, okay, I never ever would have stepped into the makeup world, I think my collection would have a worth of like 500 euro, maybe 1,000, maybe, because even back then I had more than those two palettes that I just mentioned, but I had drugstore palettes, you know. I never would have spent 150 euro on an Adept Cosmetics palette because I would have seen it on YouTube too, and I would have seen this on Instagram probably, and then I would have checked the price and be like, oh my god, who is paying so much money for makeup? And now I'm like, let me show you that. 240 bucks for a glitter palette that I use twice a year. Oh, fuck yeah, have me. And I have 4 of those. I mean, not all of them are 240 euro, but I have 4 glitter palettes. And I never ever would have tried them if I was not so much into makeup. For example, one of the glitter palettes is the Ellamas LA, the Space Case Mini. I talked about this so many times already. I bought this because of this one shade. This is the Houdini shade. And Houdini was used on Euphoria on the set. This is the glitter that Zendaya wore in the first season with her glitter tear makeup that Donny Davy did. And I'm pretty sure that back then, like if this would have happened 10 years ago, I would have been sitting there and be like, oh, this is so beautiful, but I could never wear this. And when I saw the season the very first time, I was like, what the fuck is she wearing? Let me dig into that. I searched the internet up and down. Very quickly I found my answer. And instead of just buying that one single pot, I thought, oh my god, there is a palette. Check me out. I take that. That Delilah shade had so much fallout. Oh boy, even though I used a glitter glue. By the way, I could have also used the Makeup by Mario palette, the Ethereal Eyes, and I'm pretty sure that this would have been an item I would have splurged on because, I mean, it's a good palette. It's a very good neutral palette, and that from me, who's really not into neutrals. The good thing is, for my base makeup, I always have been very, very extra. Like different primers, different glow stuff, liquids, powders. That was always part of my makeup routine. Maybe not in that specific way that I do it today, but with the stuff that we had 10 years ago. But something like this Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener, I'm pretty sure I would use today too. I would have bought stuff from Rare Beauty also back then because they are quite affordable, but still in a mid to high end range. And back then, I loved glow. I do not have an underpainting glow primer currently that would fit the vibe of 10 years ago. So I decided to go with the most affordable one that I have here in that collection, which is the Iconic London Underglow Blurring Primer. And I think this would have been a product I would have bought back then. I would have used too. I mean, Iconic London was founded in 2015, and I'm pretty sure that this specific primer came a bit later. But I remember that in that time frame, like 2015-ish, I used to get those beauty subscription boxes, and I remember that Iconic London was very often part of that box. Not with this product, but with eye pencils and stuff. So foundation is very easy. I would 100% have sticked to Estee Lauder and MAC. Estee Lauder Double Wear, MAC Studio Fix Plus, my two besties. I don't have either of those at the moment, but I'm actually craving the Double Wear, and I think after my no buy is over, I will get me a bottle of Double Wear foundation. I don't know why, but I just want to have the staple foundation back in my collection. I don't think that I would still be so much for matte foundations, and I know this sounds a bit weird, but yes, I was all about glow underneath, but matte foundation, and then going in with very intense highlighter. That was my vibe. Today, I'm still into glow and intense highlight, but I like to balance it a bit out with the matching foundation. So I can either use now the MAC Studio Fix Radiance that I really love, or the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue. Futurist Hydra Rescue, yes, I said that right. And since I haven't used this in a while, let's just take this one. And I think I've annoyed you with the MAC Studio Radiance so much now that let's take another one. I am pretty sure that the whole skin tint trend that kind of developed, I would have skipped, because look at my skin, look at my imperfections, and to be honest, if I wouldn't have stepped into the beauty community, and I know again this sounds quite weird, because actually the beauty community for the most part is all about perfecting your face, putting filters on and all shit. But the further I got into this community, the more I thought how sick I am of these perfect, fine, filtered bitches. Let me just say that. And I just thought, okay, if I do this step now, what could be my niche? And my niche obviously is makeup and loud makeup, but my niche is also fuck your skin. I mean, every skin is beautiful and we have imperfections. I have them. Look at my stressed face currently. It is what it is, but why should I hide? I think today people are looking out for content creators that are true to reality. I don't need a wear test of a foundation of somebody who is basically just applying the foundation and is then sitting on the couch for 8 hours and maybe go to Target. Like, what a foundation test is this? I want to have real. I want to have true to reality things. I am aware of the fact that a full-time content creator cannot mimic the normal day of a like regular worker, let's just say like that, like me, for example. But they could put a bit more effort into this, I think. Oh, by the way, I just used my Bobbi Brown under eye corrector because back then I even used that. The Bobbi Brown, this corrector thing was my jam back then. Under eye corrector, the wrong color though, but I used it back then too. So I just look at my concealer drawer, and my favorite concealer back then was MAC Pro Longwear. I don't have that anymore, but I do have the MAC Everywhere Face Pen, so let's use this. And I have seen this concealer in end of year reviews and it looks horrible, like completely messy, and I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck are you doing with this concealer? Mine does not look like this. So with the trend of all of the creams and stuff, I think I would have hopped on too, but not in that way that I'm doing this today. Maybe I would be that person that does either cream or powder product, but I will be doing both since I have to go to work today, so I cannot change it up too much. But I just looked at my drawer and was like, okay, what brand would I have bought actually? And to be honest, I would have stick to the drugstore with those items. I made my first step into cream blush, for example, with the Makeup Revolution fast base sticks that, what's it called? Johnny, what's it called? What is his name? The makeup artist. He's doing also sketches on TikTok with like what it's like to be at Sephora. Johnny, I don't know. I forgot his name completely, but he recommended these and I tried them, and this was my very, very first cream blush actually, and I really enjoyed them. And that brought me into the whole cream thing world. So definitely would have not been Charlotte Tilbury or Westman Atelier or stuff. Definitely not. Definitely not Tom Ford. Do you know what it would have been? I think it would have been NARS, because NARS Laguna was back then already a banger and still is to this day, and I think I would have stick to this one. And let's stick with NARS creams. These, I don't know if they are still available, but this was viral 1.5 or 2 years even ago on TikTok, because Medicine Beer, I actually don't know who this is, used this and everybody was raving about this, and this was actually my step into liquid blushes. I mean, there's a big difference between the cream and the liquid, but this one I love. I haven't even tried the new NARS liquid blushes with the doe foot applicator because I just heard so many mixed reviews about them. Have you tried them? Let me please know, because I kind of want to, but I also don't want to. And just a little tip, the best way to apply liquid blushes, in my opinion, is with a stippling brush like this. By the way, this is only one pump, and this is very pigmented. It's a beautiful blush, I love it. So cream highlighter is actually the hardest, because this took the longest for me to really develop a love for. But I think I would be that person that would have a collection of ColourPop Super Shock cheek highlights. I was so jealous of those people who were able to use ColourPop. Oh, by the way, I'm using the Flexitarian, oh, wrong way, the Flexitarian shade now, which I have a big pan in. Because when they started, they didn't ship to Germany. That was not a thing, and I was really, really jealous. I wanted to have ColourPop stuff so bad. And as you see this video, by the way, I'm still waiting for my Black Friday ColourPop order, because I just reinvested my refunded Scamlight money and bought a bit of ColourPop stuff. And also some Super Shock highlighters, so they're amazing. Back then, under eye setting powder would not have been different from my face setting powder, but I remember the Laura Mercier secret under eye, or like secret brightening powder, was a banger, and I was always looking at the persons or the people online who used this and be like, oh my god, this looks so good. But I never really caved in to buy this, and I have this now since a couple years actually, and I don't really like it that much. But let's just use it for the sake of nostalgia. Okay, let's finish the eye look. I'm tapping back into Tender for this. And I just smudge that along this. I actually cannot remember if I was a big inner corner highlight girl back then, but I will be using one. I'm tapping into the Mia shade. Beautiful. By the way, I love the formulations of these specific shimmers in the new Natasha Denona palettes. They are absolutely stunning. Very, very thin shimmers that just smoothly go on. I love that. It's Mia, Delilah, and I think the Whisper shade in the I Need a Nude. Face powder is quite hard because back then I was very into MAC face powders. The MAC Studio Fix face powder was my jam. The MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish was my jam. And what kind of face powder did I use also? I have no clue what else I did. So, but you see, I was more into pressed powders. Nowadays, I'm more into loose powders. So I just have to look at my collection here. And you know what, let's stick with the nostalgia vibe. So I'm using the Laura Mercier powder. And I just realized that the Laura Mercier powders, I have two of them, the Tone Up and the original one, are just powders I barely used throughout the whole year. So I wanted to dig into them, and the more I use both now, I mean the Tone Up I already loved, but specifically this original one, kind of start to really enjoy this powder. And now I'm sitting here like, okay, I ranked this so low in my powder ranking. Maybe next year it will be higher up. The cool thing is my brow routine actually hasn't changed that much. I just developed more skills. And I mean, I tried new brow things, but I always come back to ABH. Either this one, this is the brow definer, or the original Brow Wiz. These are just the products that I always come back to when it comes to brows. Back then I used the brow pomade a lot, which as of today I don't use, but I also used the brow powder, which is more my preferred style now. And I remember that I hated this brow definer, but now, I don't know, I really started to love this. Because it's so fucking quick. Even still to this day, use the clear brow gel religiously. Like, I always have one in the backup drawer because it's so good. Powder bronzer, so easy. I was a fangirl of NARS Laguna back then, but it was way too dark, so I looked horrific. But now they have different shades, so let's use Laguna 00. And I still have a NARS Ida brush. It's not the same. I decluttered my first one because it was really, really destroyed, but I repurchased this last year. This is so 2016, isn't it? But to be honest, NARS Ida brush is still to this day my favorite brush for a sharp contour line. So blushes, I actually don't have that one blush that defined my personality. And it was a MAC blush. I still cannot remember the name for the sake of my life, but it was the lightest pink they had. It was from the Pro line that where you just got the magnetic pants. And what was it named? It was a cool toned pink. Luckily, cool tone pinks are back on trend, so let's grab another one. It actually looked a bit like this blush for the lovers from Made by Mitchell, but not as lavendery. It had more of a pink to it and tiny specks of shimmer, but since this is the closest I have to this shade, I will use that one. And I just remember that I don't want to say it, but I raped that blush. Like, I really destroyed it. I had a massive pan going on. I think I nearly used that up and then it shattered. I also had, when it comes to under eye setting powder, I just unlocked that memory, MAC Emphasize. Do you remember that? Jaclyn Hill was the queen of MAC Emphasize, and I had that too because Jaclyn Hill had it. Yeah, that's how we were back then. As I said, highlighter would have been beaming, and I'm using the Cezanne. I still don't know if I pronounced that right. Maybe it's Cezanne. It's a K-beauty brand or like Japanese beauty brand. Looks like nothing, super affordable, but this is the shade 04. I think it's champagne or something like that. Oh, no, 04 is the rose one. I wanted to use the one which is champagne, but 04 can work too. And this, oh my god, this is so blinding. I love it. I'm not over the 2016 highlight phase. I still do this. I still do. But I definitely would not have been into duochrome highlights as I'm today. Like a colorful highlight, no way. As of today, I love wearing a green highlighter. It's just beautiful depending on the look that I wear. So I tap back into Natasha Denona and I take the Sheen shade. Sheen is also one of those thin formulations. And I apply this underneath the brows as a soft brow bone highlight. The setting spray of choice would be Urban Decay All Nighter. I loved it back then, I love it today, but I don't have one open, so I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury one. I don't have a lip liner that matches my vibe back then, but it would have been something from NYX. Their slim lip liners were just the thing, and all nudes. So I'm using the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude Lip Liner today. And I just realized how matching that is. Okay. I wasn't really a lipstick girl, I was a lip gloss girl, so just take the matching gloss today. I feel like this is a very accurate picture of what I would wear if I was not exploring beauty community and doing this kind of very public and exploring all of the fun indie brands. I would stick to something like this. So whenever you see an Instagram post or a YouTube video of somebody doing a very artsy look with, I don't know, Ern's Eye, whatever, Little Ghost palette, or a very duochrome piece of art with Cleonad, don't feel pressure to do for yourself, because outside of this bubble of the beauty community, 99% of people walk around like this. If they even wear makeup, you know what I mean? You don't have to have Instagrammable looks. You don't have to have loud and visible looks. You just have to feel very good. And this is a look that I would feel very, very good outside of YouTube and inside of YouTube. So what do you think? Has the beauty community changed your makeup style? Doesn't matter if you're a creator or not, but has it changed? Let us know down below, and don't forget to subscribe and check out the info box, and so I can see you tomorrow.